men's basketball came.
Jared Hass and his team, particularly Adam Cohen, are everything that Stanford football is not as a recruiting power, because they take advantage of the gift that they've been giving of being on the Stanford campus, and they work so hard, maybe too hard. They're on the trail constantly. They're never at home. And I think that Jared Hass has embraced the fact that in college basketball you have to recruit to win. It's almost more important than in college football, and that's saying something. In this modern one-and-done era, you have to get the talent in the door, and you have to show that those talented players can get to the NBA, and he has done both. As much as I wanted to see Tyrell Terry come back, at the end of the day, it's almost better for the program that he leaves and shows that you can be a one-and-done at Stanford. You would never have thought that's possible. First of all, I hate the one-and-done system, and I think it can and will go away soon. But as long as it is there, you have to recruit in that type of mindset. And Jared Hass showed he could do it with Zaire Williams. He showed it again with Harrison Ingram. And if you look at what Harrison Ingram said, he's not committing to Stanford just because of the education. Obviously, the education is what a lot of guys say when they commit to Stanford, because they should. It's what distinguishes Stanford as a university. But he's saying we can be a national power. And I think he believes that because of Issa Silva, who is another top 35 recruit at point guard, who I think could be just a great complement to Harrison Ingram in that class of 2021. I mean, you got two top 35 recruits in one class. That does not happen to Stanford. And I think Silva is a guy who might even be underranked, given the fact that he's really that type of savvy point guard. You can't quantify his impact on the game. And I think that we saw that kind of player work out with Tyrell Terry. So long story short is Stanford men's basketball is on the come up. And you are going to see this program start to contend for much bigger things than NCAA tournament berth in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's on the come up. And saw an article in The Athletic talking about how Zaire Williams' commitment kind of made it Stanford men's basketball cool again. And I think that's what we're seeing here, right? We've had this progression from KZ Arcalo leaving in his second year, and he's in the league now. Saw him really progress through his time at Stanford. And then we have Tyrell Terry leaving this year, and honestly, I think is a first-round pick. So we're seeing all of these prospects really develop a lot. We saw Spencer Jones, who is not highly touted at all, absolutely light it up from deep last year. So a lot of different recruits are saying, you know what, I can come to Stanford and be that kind of player. I can be someone who surprises a lot of different people because I'm going to succeed. I'm going to get minutes early, which is what a lot of these recruits are saying. That Jared Hass has been fully welcoming of his freshmen starting and playing a lot of minutes because there hasn't been that established players. And then when those new established players come along, we're seeing them really, really grow. And now we have a senior like Oscar Da Silva, who's a really strong talent, a beast, both in the stem cell research and on the court. Led the team in scoring last year. So we have all these different players, all this different success. Stanford men's basketball is absolutely on the come up, and for a long time hasn't been. A long time, Maples was nearly empty for Stanford men's basketball games, and we're not seeing that anymore. And hopefully fans are able to come back soon because I think there's a lot of excitement in Maples Pavilion right now for this team.
Shout out to the Six-Man Club. They have done God's work in getting people in the stands and incentivizing students to go to games. You shouldn't have to do that, but you do at Stanford. And sure enough, we are seeing that pay off because Stanford is just turning into a different kind of basketball school. And frankly, there's room to grow quickly in the Pac-12. I think the Pac-12 gets a bad rap in basketball. It's had a couple bad seasons, but this year they were looking at 5 or 6 teams in the tournament. And obviously we didn't get that tournament, so we couldn't really see that come to fruition. But I don't think people would be talking about the Pac-12 in the same way had the 2020 season played out. Either way, though, there's not those established powers. You're not in the ACC. You're not going up against North Carolina and Duke every year. With one good class, like this Silva-Ingram class, with more to come, hopefully, you can completely change the dynamic of your program. And I think Zaire Williams is a player who single-handedly can change this year's Stanford team alongside Oscar Da Silva. I think if they'd had Tyrell Terry, I'd say they're a top 10 team. Without Tyrell Terry, I still think they're top 25, still a Pac-12 contender. And now we've been praising Jared Hass as we should. It's going to be NCAA tournament or bust this season. If he is not able to get this roster to the tournament, then that shows that something is systematically wrong. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. I believe in him as a coach. And to address a question in the chat. As it relates to Stanford, I'm more excited about this basketball season than this football season. First of all, because I think there's more time so it can be done more safely, and I think we're going to get something closer to a normal season. But second of all, because I think that Stanford men's basketball is going to outperform Stanford football, and that hasn't really been the case in a long time. Last year it was, but once again, we didn't get to see it come to completion. This year, I expect Stanford men's basketball, book it, will be ranked in the top 25 at the end of the season.
Top 25. Let's go top 15. There's a really talented freshman class coming in, even beyond Williams. They got 4-star and Max Morrell, Noah Tights, Max O'Connell, former lacrosse guy, and Brandon Angel, all 3 stars. Really, really a lot of talent coming in addition to Oscar da Silva. And then Bryce Wills and Dejon Davis, who are excellent defenders, all Pac-12 defenders. And that's really the identity of Stanford. That's why I think Harrison Ingram is going to fit so much into the system, and why I'm really impressed with that recruiting job, because he's a defensive first guy. And they're recruiting different players knowing that they're going to come in and be this defensive-minded team, because that's what the style that Haas wants to play, and it's worked out really, really nicely. Impressed with what's being going on. But now the questions, and I think it does have to do a lot with Tyrell Terry leaving, is who is playing point guard? It's probably going to be Dejon, but probably going to be Bryce there maybe as well. It's going to be by committee is basically what it sounds like. That there's no one player like Ty, when he's in, absolutely dominating. And you would say, this is my one, this is going to be leading the charge. And then we also have questions at the 5. Lucas Kasunas is there, and as is Keenan Fitzmaurice, nicest guy on campus, but we haven't seen an established big come in, and then a lot of times stretching Oscar da Silva, and I don't think that necessarily plays to his strengths.
I don't think those lineup issues are going to be such a big deal. First of all, you got Michael O'Connell coming in as a point guard, who I think could take that starting job, because you just need a distributor at point guard this year. The other people can do the scoring. And frankly, Tyrell Terry was doing a lot of his best work off the ball, because Dejon Davis quietly improved tremendously as a lead guard. Obviously, his defense is unbelievable. Bryce Wills and Dejon Davis might be the best backcourt defense in the country. I mean, those guys can lock up anybody. And, the problem is that they're not able to do it on the offensive end at the same rate. But I think that started to come around. Dejon Davis limited his turnovers and did bring the ball up the floor quite a bit. Yes, Tyrell Terry was your point man in the sense that you were looking to him for buckets alongside Oscar da Silva. But Davis was able to run the show. I think we're going to see more of that this year. And I think the small lineup works because you got a lot of versatile guys. Spencer Jones can guard multiple positions. Obviously, Bryce Wills and Dejon Davis can guard multiple positions. So with the versatility and length of this Stanford team, it's not going to matter so much that they don't have a true 5 or a true 1.